All right, guys, we're going to be talking about you. Yes, you gringos, you people from North America, Canada, Europe, you guys. We're going to talk about you. Not in a good way. We're going to act like this is a Johnny and Michael Allen podcast.
Oh,
I know, right? We're going to get to that in a minute. I got some things to talk about. Guys, I'm Michael Allen from TravelCostaRicaNow.com. If you haven't subscribed, I'd appreciate it. YouTube's hard. Want to see videos as I put them up, hit the notification bell. And guys, if Costa Rica's on your radar, thinking you might want to live here, but you're not quite sure, got a 6-day relocation retreat coming up soon, and it's in my town, La Fortuna, man. It's going to be great. We got all the great speakers talking about all kinds of things like export, import, export, immigration. We got him. He speaks there. What do you talk about?
I do healthcare.
I do healthcare. Anyway, it's going to be great. So all that info is in a link in the description. Again, nobody's trying to sell you Costa Rica. We're just trying to inform you so you can make a good decision whether Costa Rica is right for you or it's honey. We're going to Belize. All right, you guys know Johnny. We talk to him a lot, maybe too much, maybe a little too much. He's he's our medical dental tourism, all around health insurance guy, knows everything about the socialized medicine here and how to get your breasts bigger and your liposuction sucked out your ass. All those things. Dental implants, he does all that. And if you're interested in that, you want to talk to Johnny about that because you got wisdom teeth or got to have a new grill, go to TravelCostaRicaNow.com, scroll down a bit, and there's a little form there. And as soon as I get it, I'll shoot it over to Johnny, and you guys can work ways to get your teeth fixed. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Johnny. Johnny has no idea. This is impromptu. He doesn't know what we're talking about, although I did kind of mention it. I want to talk about gringos that come down here, I guess with their expectations. I'm not really sure, but I'm kind of talking about the ones that kind of the whiners and complainers, the ones that had their expectations are way up here, or they think that they're coming down to a country that's, I don't know, like theirs or something. I don't know what they think, but they're irritating sometimes, Johnny. They're irritating. These are the people that talk crap, talk some shit, and it's like, you know, when people go, well, why don't you leave? You know, I go, that's so cliche. You know, like, so why don't you leave? But you know what? Why don't they leave? I don't get it. I don't understand how people come down here and just don't understand that Costa Rica is not from where you're from. You came down to another country. I don't know. Explain. You're Tico.
Yeah. Well, Mike, I guess I'm Tico, but I'm also American. We have, when I first came here, I went through what you're talking about. Exactly what you're talking about. I knew everything. My way was the best way. Oh, why don't we do everything that way? And it didn't work, Mike. It didn't work.
No, it doesn't.
But it didn't work because a mentality as an American, you go into this, hey, you know what? We got to be number one, and this has got to work. But what I think people forget is that you're talking about a country that has 330 million people and a country that has 5 million people. And these two peoples have a totally different culture, and you can't impose a culture clash or what you think is right into a group that's so small. They don't have the buying power that you have in the U.S. because they complain a lot about pricing here, and you can't compare a 5 million people buying power to a 330 million people buying power. But people don't understand it. Oh, Costa Rica is so expensive, but you can't put both those two together and be there. They're never going to be equal. You're never going to do it.
No, but it's not just you get that a lot. It's expensive. Well, okay, maybe it can be, but it's all the stuff. It's like, oh, the Ticos are lazy, or don't trust them, or they're always trying to rip you off because you're a gringo, or this is going to happen. It's like, I don't know. It's offensive to me to hear people say that. You came down here, you know, and I'm assuming, most people come to Costa Rica because they know it is a little bit more of a simpler life, that it is not quite as fast paced. Not that people aren't entrepreneurs here, not that there's not go-getters here, not that there's, people do show up on time. You show up. Oh, no, you actually don't.
That's not really nice. Mike.
Okay, I know. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just very offensive to me to hear people that live here as a guest in a country bagging on the country and posting it on Facebook, or maybe they do their little videos, whatever the hell they do, and they badmouth it. It's just like, why are you here?
They forget what they came for, or what the Pura Vida mantra of what that really means. And how do you put a price on quality of life? How do you do that? And they don't value that. This quality of life that you have here, you came here for a reason, and people don't value that. People just, oh, I have to have my way, or the highway. No, you came here for a reason, but like you said, people do not get it. They just, oh, this is the way it's supposed to be done. And I think they don't assimilate that the quality of life, you don't have to come here to make money, or there's opportunities everywhere, but you didn't come here for that. You should have already came from your home country to, I'm going to retire. Well, I'm going to open up this and it's going to be successful. That's not the case. Things take time, and this country doesn't have that much traffic in certain areas. Or Airbnb, Mike. What about Airbnb?
Well, they're everywhere.
But they think, oh, I'm just going to put an Airbnb, but they don't take into consideration, hey, you know what? If you don't live there or not around there, people aren't going to just manage it for you. It just doesn't happen. They're going to pay. But I don't know. I've changed over the years myself of getting that virus of thinking that it has to be a certain way. And you start not assimilating, but start adjusting to, for me, quality of life. Pura Vida.
Well, let's talk about, okay, you hear Ticos will rip you off. That's what they do. They're going to rip you off. Okay, so A, who are you hanging out with? That's what I want to know. Who are you hanging out with? So professional people that are going to do a professional job for you, or did you call Jose's brother's cousin's girlfriend's brother to get your house painted? I mean, so I don't get that. If you have the contacts, or you know people, or you're trying not to cut corners, and you're going, okay, I'm going to be a professional. I'm going to get somebody. I'm getting the Toyota dealership to fix my Toyota. I don't know if Frank can do it over here. He says he can, but maybe he can't. I don't know. So I don't understand. I don't think people, they're looking for shortcuts. So they're acting like the person's trying to rip them off when they're trying to actually shortcut the whole thing and trying to get their things done for a little cheaper. Or you know somebody that can do this thing for me, and they get themselves in trouble, and they don't want to take any responsibility for their own unsavory behavior.
They do that a lot. Because when you first come to the country, hey, you know what? I know the way it's supposed to be done. Oh, it was recommended by them. But there are contractors. There are real companies that you do. And if you contract, yes, they'll pay a little bit. But if you want
quality, you can. I don't like these people act like you can't get like quality service here. You can get quality service, but guess what? Just like anywhere in the world, you pay for the good quality service. But no, what do? You go, well, I just want that little room painted. That can't be much. And Frank's mom's brother said he could do it.
Oh yeah, he came up with this little card, and he can, okay. You can't complain if you put yourself in a situation. You can't blame a country if you put yourself in a situation, because the resource exists. You just chose to do a different route because you took the advice of somebody else that maybe had a good experience with a person, but sometimes it's not repeatable. Maybe that person was having a good week, or maybe it was right. But are you trying to use my yeah. So I think we have to sit back, and just like in the States, you know what? You have to rely on, hey, this recommendation. No, you go to a real brick and mortar company that exists, that has a reputation that they want to protect, not just Joe Schmo that he can do electricity, but is he qualified? Is he certified? When you do the electricity, when you go to the municipality, is it going to pass? Those are the things that you don't know because you save the dollar, you're going to spend. Price has a cost.
Everybody tries to, everybody makes all their decisions solely based on price. It's just like going, I would never live in Costa Rica. It's too expensive. I would live in, let's say, Nicaragua. Nicaragua's cheaper. Well, if you're going by cost alone, yes, you're right. Now, I would consider some of the problems with Nicaragua now bigger than, the cost that I might pay here. So to me, there's a lot of variables that come in picking a place. But for some reason, everybody, no matter what it is, you go through it with the medical dental stuff and all. Oh, that seems expensive, Johnny, those implants. I can get them. I got a quote over there that were half the price. Yeah, because you can always beat a quote.
Oh, yeah.
You can always beat a quote. But guess what? And then, do they take any responsibility when shit goes wrong?
Nope.
You picked it. You went to got the cheap thing. You did that. You tried to, make the shortcut, and you got screwed, and you can't take responsibility for it.
I have patients that have called to ask for receipts for items that I've never quoted. Hey, I need a receipt for this. I'm like, well, how am I going to give you a receipt for something that I never did? And those are the things, I need it for taxes because it's tax season, Mike.
Right. Right. Well, look at gringo pricing. I'm even been looking at that different. Where in the world don't people try to make money? And so if you put this house up for $1 million, but it's really only 250,000, but somebody pays $1 million, well, whose fault is that? I mean, everybody kind of does that. Everything is. Yes, they do see. They kind of think that a gringo has money when he's down here, but you don't have to get gringo priced.
No.
You can there's all kinds of hacks and shortcuts where you know how much something is, and this guy's trying to quote you, double. You just go, dude, what are you doing? Or go to a professional and get the real quote.
Mike, how many videos you got on that?
Like too many. No, a lot.
It goes back to if you listen to the experts or people that have done it, been there and done that, you won't get gringo price. But a lot of times an American or a Canadian comes down here and, okay, you know what? This is $300,000. Well, that's cheap. I just sold my house for $1 million.
Right.
But all of a sudden, you have this whole community that was brought up and they paid $300,000 for a house that was maybe on a $100,000 property. They didn't do their due diligence to go to the bank to see how much that property is really valued at. What's the area it's done? Because there is no MLS here. So you have to rely on, there's no comps. So, but there is a way to go to a bank, get a bank to say, hey, I want to buy this property. How much is this property worth? And the bank here, a Costa Rican bank, is going to say, well, you know what? That house is 100 square meters. But the land sits on 2 hectares. Okay, I'm going to give you 100,000, but it's 2 hectares. A lot of times banks here don't value the dirt around them. They value the construction, but people don't know that. Oh, it's got this beautiful view. They don't care about all that. They care about what's constructed, but an American comes in I bought this. It has this spectacular view. Let me pay this. And they didn't inform themselves. And they do that a lot. And then they elevate the price in a whole area. And now you can't buy nothing for less than $1 million because they elevated the prices themselves. They didn't get informed. They didn't go.
But it's always that. They don't take responsibility for not doing their due diligence or their homework and research on anything because if you're getting gringo price or if you got gringo, actually gringo pricing is all around the world. They just don't call it gringo pricing.
No,
everybody tries to make a buck, and if you don't know and if you're going to pay a certain amount, they're going to let you pay it, and that's anywhere. There's no Costa Ricans don't have exclusivity on overcharging.
No,
everyone overcharges unless you go,
hey,
dude, whatever, come on, man. or you have better contacts, or you get professionals, or you do your homework and research. None of that happens. So all these now, when you take personal responsibility for some of these things, now you're not around shady people. Now all Ticos don't try to rip you off. They're not going at, I don't know. It kind of takes away all this constant complaining about the country and the way they I don't know, do things.
Mike, I'm from California. In California, when you go to Disney, there's a California resident price, and then there's an out-of-state price.
Right.
Is that gringo pricing?
Yes.
But that's not in Costa Rica, right?
No, but everyone does that. It's like if I had a bar and a tourist came in, the beer's going to be $4. But if you come into you live here and you come into my bar every day and you bring your friends, I'm going to give you good prices on beer. Or free pizza every now and then. I mean, that's everywhere in the world. So that's what I mean. I just think that gringo pricing is kind of a bad rap on acting like the Costa Ricans are, always out for your money. No, that's everywhere, dude.
I had a play. This beautiful couple. They're great. I love them. They're great. They're really. I met them at the bank. They even saw one of your videos about how banking and paying tickets. It was great. I happened to see them. They went to one of the dental clinics that I recommended, and they felt they got gringo price. And then you know what I did, Mike? I said, you know what? We need to fix that. But because I knew them, hey, you know what? Why didn't you guys do this? We went out. So people just, I'm just going to go into a spot, and then I got gringo price. Well, because you didn't get informed, you didn't know what you're doing. You went to a place, and there's no accountability to nobody but yourself if you don't get informed.
Take responsibility. Take responsibility for coming to a country that they do appreciate quality of life, and that's probably why you decided to come here. Now, if you can't assimilate, I'm not sure it's Costa Rica's problem. It's not their freaking problem. It's your problem. You're the one that said you're going to come down here and write a novel with your time. But no, what are you doing? You start drinking beers at 10 and you're not writing a novel. And so when you don't make it in Costa Rica, you don't go back and go, I didn't do that shit I was going to do. I started drinking at 10. No, you have to say, Costa Rica's expensive.
Yeah, no.
You can't, nobody is honest about, why they didn't make it here or whatever.
No, they make up excuses why the country failed you, but they don't talk about what you did to fail.
If I hear one more, I'm serious. Costa Rica's expensive. Yes, it can be expensive, but it does not have to be. But no, you want what you want, don't you? You want what you want. You want your car, your ATV, 3 acres of lot. You want a pool. You want your yard boy. You want the better leather couches. You go on all these. Yes, it's going to be probably more expensive. You don't want to do anything to change your life. You're trying to replicate it, and then you're going, it's expensive because you can't stop buying shit.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true.
That was a good freaking rant
no,
right there,
for
dude.
sure. Well, Mike, it also goes to is that you left the U.S. and you're still wanting U.S. products, and every time they import a product from the U.S., it's going to cost more to bring it here to Costa Rica.
Okay.
But it costs so much more than when the same product on a different packaging with a different name is the same thing. Mike, I have this kryptonite with donuts. Okay.
He whispered that. Did you hear that? He whispered donuts like no one's gonna hear him.
So I found some donuts that were similar to the donuts that I like in the U.S. at less than half the cost, but they're called something different. Just like I like. You like Frito chips?
I don't snack, Johnny.
Oh,
that's you.
That's me. I'm sorry. Well, there's this Frito chips.
But I do like Fritos.
But Fritos chips with barbecue sauce on them that as a kid I love, and still as an adult I have issues. And yes, some healthcare. But you know what? My kryptonite sometimes is some junk food. But junk food is in the past few years has jumped up in price. But it's jumped up in price on this imported American products that I like. So I had to switch over to some Costa Rican products, which I shouldn't even be doing in junk food. But I switched over at half the cost, Mike. But I was still getting the same product.
No, I know.
But people are like, oh, it's so expensive. Oh, there's this sausage, Johnson's sausage from Minnesota that they
You're
have.
using a lot of food references, John.
Hey, you know what?
A lot of food references here.
So this Johnson sausage, it's cost $12, but I get the same, a similar sausage for less than $3 here, Costa Rican wise. But I'm used to this one sausage. But you switch over, and but you're going back to what you said. You left this country for something, and you come to this, but you complain about it. Don't complain about something. You have control over what happens. If you would control your spending on buying products that are locally done, you could lower your cost, and you wouldn't be so expensive. But you wanted this name brand Kraft, or you want this Fruit Loops, or you want this Rice Krispies. There's
a lot of food references. Don't you guys agree? A lot of food references here. No, but I mean, again, if you want to change your life, you can here. I always say hashtag sorry, not sorry. I live here cheaply, dude. Now, a lot of people couldn't live like me. I get it. My house is kind of crappy in a way. You know, it's just a little Tico house. But, you know, I just buy what I need. I don't buy anything I don't need. And, you know, a lot of people don't want to do that. I get it. But you can simplify just by doing a few things, you know, to bring costs down, you know, if you want to. So I get a little tired of it. It's expensive because yes, but no.
It's expensive if you make it expensive, if you have products that you constantly go out. And I assimilated to move to Costa Rica, but I didn't take on Costa Rica. I still stayed in the U.S. with my mind on what I wanted. So you got to pay for it.
I don't know. I just think everything that people complain and whine about Costa Rica, whether it's a service, again, that's just not hiring professionals. The service, they try to cut corners. Gringo pricing is not really real. That doesn't have to happen. And no, not all Ticos are out to get you. They're like anywhere else in the world. There are some bad people everywhere, but for the most part, no. And if you find the right contacts and know the right people, that stuff doesn't happen either. There's plenty of people that are upstanding citizens like yourself or like me. I mean, I don't know. So to me, things that happen to you down here, what you don't like about down here, whatever it is your fault. It's all your fault. And go back to your country because we don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I may not speak very good Spanish, but I'm turning Tico in a lot of ways, and I kind of get it. I get Pura Vida. I really do understand it now. I understand that this will pass. Don't worry, be happy. Calm down. Don't sweat the little things. Don't sweat the small stuff. That's what they're talking about. They're not excusing their behavior necessarily. They're just going, in 5 years, is this thing that's going on going to matter? No.
Ticos live for today.
And what's wrong with that? Now, it's got disadvantages.
Yeah.
But technically speaking, if anybody that reads any kind of philosophy or Eckhart Tolle or all these people, how many times do you hear live in the moment? Live in the moment. Try to stay in the moment. Don't think, you're not thinking about the past. Keep out of your head and enjoy the moment. That's what you're supposed to try to do. Well, Ticos probably do better than most people. Now, that can work in reverse where they don't delay any gratification or they're not looking at the future, and sometimes some decisions could be made that probably isn't in their best interest. But the principle of that day is kind of nice.
They take advantage of what's given to them, of this quality of life that we're living. And a lot of us like, oh, that's not it. They didn't plan. They didn't plan for the retirement. They didn't plan of this. They're not thinking in that sense. And like you said, is it wrong? I don't think so. I think that the fact that we grow up in a different culture, hey, you know what, this is it. But Mike, is it okay that you work until you're 65 and you can only enjoy maybe 15, 20 years of your life? Or do we look at the Ticos and they enjoy their whole life?
They kind of do. And, you know, it's when you live down here and you see it. So people bitching about it or seeing the negative side of it or saying lazy or the whole whatever it is. It's just like it's not true, and it's very racist to say that kind of crap. I can't stand that from anybody. But I don't know. It's your fault. It's freaking your fault. I'm kind of like probably how you feel. I am glad that I was born in the States. I am, because it was a different. It taught me a lot. Like working hard. My mom and dad were big time on taking responsibility. They weren't helping me, man. You got to make your way, dude. You've made some decisions, and now anybody knows my life. I've made plenty of bad choices, but you take responsibility for them. But so I like the base of the United States. But if I had to pick now, well, I already have picked. I'm ending my life here. I would never, and I can say never, seriously, unless I got physically, taken back to the States or something. But I will never return to the States in that way. I love the United States. I'm not bad mouthing the United States. I'm just saying the way of life here is more conducive to less stress, less anxiety, and everyone knows that the mind and body connection is real. Stress kills. Anxiety kills. That causes cancer. They're starting to see all that stuff. They're seeing the connection. And if I'm going to pick a place, the calmness of living here on a daily basis, I guess putting up with, not showing up on time, I guess, whatever it is.
Sweating the small stuff.
Yes. So I don't know. I just wanted to talk about it because I get some of these Facebook groups and some of these people that promote this, the bad of Costa Rica. I don't know, man. It's not that bad like that. I think you're just not right. You're not circling yourself with the right people.
If you approach life looking at everything's bad or nitpicking, it can be anywhere. But if you start taking responsibility for yourself and checking yourself.
No, that's too hard. It's much easier to just blame.
Okay, we just blame everybody.
Costa Rica, man, it's expensive there. You should see it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I couldn't take it. Is that you couldn't take it. You have 5 million people here, and you have people constantly wanting to come live here, and you're living here, and then all of a sudden it's not right for you.
Well, that's fine. It's not right for everybody. I get it. But okay, continue.
But if it's not right for you, what you have to go back. I think for myself, you have to go back for the reason you came. And if that reason changed, then yeah, maybe it's not. Maybe going back, but
don't blame it on Costa Rica. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, you blame on something. You're passing blame to somebody that all they did is provide 5% of the diversity in the world, and gave you green. And gave you this and gave you that. All this is giving, and all of a sudden, it's not good enough.
They surrounded you in Costa Rica with everything you need to do to calm your mind and help and really take in life. They gave you a perfect backdrop, and you can either appreciate it and use it that way, or you can find the negativity in it or something, and then I guess live that way if you want, and you're probably going to die younger, and you're a curmudgeon, and you turn to the people that I don't know.
Well, they don't. The simple thing of a Costa Rican with the passive aggressive issues that sometimes happen, they want to be nice. And sometimes they're passive aggressive. But is it wrong?
No. Well, the passive aggressive is because they are nice. I mean, that's kind of a template of that kind of. It's kind of like people in the South or Asians. They are nice to your face. They are going to be nice to you, but they are judgy. And if you're going to be pissy with them, they put their best foot forward. And so their defense is passive aggressive. So you were bitchy. You yelled at the bank person. You know what? You yelled at the bank person, and you win that battle. But your paperwork's going down at the bottom, bitch. And they will win the war. And so I get that they're only really defense because they're not confrontational. So it just goes with the way they are, that passive aggressive would be their default defense mechanism.
Yeah, because they're going to smile at you. No problem, Mike.
So I don't, the passive aggressive thing, I totally understand. I totally get it. Makes perfect sense why they tend to be passive aggressive. But okay, so what? And even that one is probably your fault. You probably were a bitch. You probably were yelling, and you were probably rude.
Mike, how many times have we gone to the bank and had that? I go in there smiling and saying, "How you doing? Good, buenos dias. How you doing?" And it's a whole different treatment. Instead of demanding, "This is my service and what I'm going to do," and it's a whole different thing.
People do not. I mean, you taught me this probably better than anybody, but it's so true. And I unfortunately took way too long to learn this, and it's so easy. Buenos dias. Buenos dias, buenas tardes, buenas noches.
That's it. The
¿Cómo
three
estás,
B's.
man?
The three
¿Cómo
B's.
estás? Just a few greetings. They take that shit serious because that's laying the foundation of what's ever going to take place. And they're trying to start off in a civil, have a nice relationship. So you come in there and you don't say buenos dias and you start firing off, your 6-shooter. What's up? I've signed these papers 3 times, and you got okay. Passive aggressive will kick in with them. It's just the way it is. So I don't. People maybe underestimate. Not that you have to talk necessarily Spanish, which I do. They do appreciate if you are. But as long as you're nice and cordial, that goes a long way because they're kind of going, okay, he's cool.
Yeah.
It's just disarming,
Mike, that was hard for me first coming in to be, hey, bring up a conversation because they would say,
"Oh, I know you were such a bitch when I first met you."
Yeah. But when you accept that and you start working that to say, hey, you know what? And then I started, well, how was your weekend? And in my mind, I'm like, why am I doing this? Why am I asking about the weekend? Well,
because they like it,
and they just want to hear that. It's a conversation, and I'm like, and it works.
Yeah, I've said it in a million videos, so I gotta own it. I hate small talk. I always have, and it is a lot of small talk. So I've had to finally learn that, Mike, you can come on now. You can do this, and I mean, obviously I can, and I do. I say hi and all that kind of stuff. But all right, anyway, guys, we got to turn this podcast off. But I'd like to hear you people that live here, or you people that have lived here and left, or whatever. I would love to hear your comments, your feedback. What did we get right? What did we get wrong? Because all those comments, everything you write, helps other people. That's why I make these videos. All right,
Mike, I'm going to ask them. Try the 3 B's: buenos dias, buenas tardes, and buenas noches. That small talk will go a mile in that service being performed for you.
Johnny, this is my channel. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, thanks, man. Appreciate the conversation. Want to hear what you have to say? I'm Michael Allen, travelcostarica.com. Things are going to pop up. Thinking about living or traveling anywhere, always do your homework and research. And if it's Costa Rica, I'm going to put my videos up against any of them.
Pura Vida.
All right. Wow. And the P. 3 B's and a P.
Yeah.